Good Lord, holy guacamole, I couldn't get that thing to work. Technical difficulty. So anyway, I wanted to show how I made donuts in our new donut pan. I made a couple of sets at my parents' house this weekend, and most of them were gone when we left. I did use a different recipe. I'm gonna adjust this, sorry. Hey Valerie, I'm showing our new donut pan. So I made a different recipe, and I really like this one better, so I wanted to show it to you. And it's super easy, and it's a Pampered Chef one, which, you know, they're always easy. So they're baked apple cider donuts. I made them last night. I had a little get together for some of my team members, and they came over, and it's an opportunity for them to try the new products and you know, test out some recipes. So we made a nice dinner and dessert, and we ate all the donuts, 3 of us. So my actually I can't lie. We ate 9 of them, and when they left, there were 3, and Jake ate 1. And when he went to bed, I thought, you know what, I'm making more tomorrow, and I ate the rest. So my family will totally know that that's totally me. So anyway, I wanted to show this to you. It is so easy, and they turned out so beautifully, so I'm really tickled. They're super easy. So I went ahead and I already mixed up the flour, the sugar, the baking soda and salt, and then we used some apple pie spice, which, you know, I pumpkin pie spice, but I'd never heard of apple pie, and I didn't have it. And luckily, they've got a recipe on here. Of course, they generally do that. They'll supply an add-in for if you don't, you know, you can't find it in your area. They'll tell you how to mix it up yourself. So, so we did. It was a tablespoon of cinnamon, some allspice, some nutmeg, and some ginger. And I actually was out of nutmeg, but I happened to last Christmas go to Penzeys, which is a spice shop, if you don't know. It is in North Raleigh, and so I hightailed it over there and bought some little gifts. But I got some fresh nutmeg because if you have a nut allergy, it's hard to find nutmeg that is not processed in a nut facility. So this was safe for my son. And so I wanted to show you, I'm just using our little lemon zester and one of our little flexible mats. And then you just zest it. And let me tell you, it smells heavenly. It smells so good. But you just do that, and then you can pour it into a little bowl and measure it, or you can do it and measure it into a little prep bowl or something. So I've done that, and I have apple cider concentrate, half a cup of that, half a cup of unsweetened applesauce, an egg, and 2 tablespoons of oil. So I was tickled that it's like really, really low in fat, and then you bake them on top of that. So that's why I didn't feel guilty eating all of them. So I'm gonna go ahead and mix those in a second, but I'm gonna go ahead and show you. I used our little measure-all cup and just put a tiny, tiny bit of oil in the bottom with our little basting brush, pastry brush, and then you just kind of you know, swirl it around in here. It doesn't take much. They came out so easily, but you do want to do some. Now, I will tell you, if you get some oil on the top of your pan, just take a little napkin or a towel or a paper towel or something and wipe that off. If you're using oil, it should be fine. You won't really get a residue. But what you will do is discolor your pan. So if you're like me and you want it to look pretty, wipe that off. So I'm gonna set that aside, and then I'll go ahead and mix this up. So I have our little batter bowls here. I love these, I use them all the time. Just pour them together. And the recipe didn't even really call for you to mix them separately, but you know, baking, all the recipes I ever read growing up always had you mix the, you know, the dry ingredients, and then you mix the wet ones, and then you combined them. So that's what I did. So, this smells so good. Now, I don't know if you could do this with gluten-free flour. I haven't tried that yet. For those of you, I know some of you are gluten-free, but I can assure you I will be trying that. But this does have an egg, so my son couldn't eat it, darn it. Alrighty. I got it mixed, scraped the bottom real good. Now, I had a heck of a time yesterday, and this weekend when I made them, I did not have my piping bag with me, and we tried to spoon it in, and it was just really difficult. So I would suggest, if you don't have a bag, a pastry bag, to put this into a zip top bag, like a gallon bag, and just clip the corner, and then you can do that. So, you know, if you're not going to use this, no need to rush out. I hate to, you know, make people feel like they have to buy stuff. But I will tell you, honestly, when I got this, I kind of left it in the box for a long time because I have like a ton of Wilton stuff that I had from years ago, and I had the disposable bags because, you know, trying to clean one was difficult. So when I got these, you know, I just wasn't really in a rush to try them. But I finally did try it because I thought, well, how am I going to tell anybody if it's good or not? And I was really, really pleasantly surprised. They are so supple. They almost feel like a Playtex living glove. You know, have you ever had those? They're like real soft, and it's real soft, and they clean so easily. It's dishwasher safe, which is kind of surprising, but I don't. I just put it in a sink of soapy water, and I mean, you barely have to do anything to it, and it just rinses clean. And then just, it's got a little thing, you just hang it to dry, like totally easy. But I did find that it worked really, really well in doing the donuts. So, and last night our first batch didn't turn out because we forgot to put the baking soda in. So it does make a difference. So I'm gonna see if I can somehow manage to do this on my own. And I found like the tallest thing I could find was our pitcher. And it's probably going to keep falling over. So I'll just try to do my best here. So my oven is preheated to 350. And again, I always like to remind you, when you're baking, to preheat your oven for 15 minutes because you want the walls to get hot. I am like really afraid this is going to make a mess. You want the walls to get hot because what will happen if you preheat it and then just stick your stuff in there? The air might be 350 degrees right now, but the walls aren't. So if you allow it to get really good and hot and you open it, the oven temperature will recover quickly if the whole oven has been sitting at that temperature for about 15 minutes. Alrighty. So that all fit in there. It's kind of a little bit of a balancing act. Okay, so I've got my pan, and I've got my little Twix-It clip you can use because it's coming out the other side, so I don't want to like delay too long. Now, I will say that the recipe I used, it was a King Arthur recipe that I used this weekend. And you just want to apply like the slightest pressure. And then when you get all the way back around, just kind of turn it on its side and it will slow down. And you want it to be about, not quite to the edge, like just beneath. The top. But like I was saying, the King Arthur recipe was much stiffer, but I didn't like the taste of them. So it was a little bit easier to work with, but you know, I think it's just a little bit of trial and error getting you know, the hang of this. But I also think, honestly, I wish I'd have had another donut pan because it would be really easy to make 24 of these, and especially like I'd love to give these away, but you know, there's only 12. Gotta have some to eat, right? These were the tastiest little things. So let's see what I can get out of here. I know there's some in the bottom of the pitcher. Now, if you're going to decorate with icing, I have the neatest video on my, I think it's on my YouTube channel if you watch it, that shows how to use icing, and you actually spread it into some saran wrap and like twist the ends, and then you slip an end through the pastry bag, put your coupler on with your tip, and then cut it off, and then you can change colors really quickly. You know, if you like to decorate and want to use different colors for different cakes, that's a cool way, so look for that. But so that's it. I mean, super easy. You can see they're all full, and I'll stick it in the oven for 10 minutes. And then when they come out, one other thing the King Arthur recipe wasn't very good at is that when I shook them in the sugar, they didn't stick. I don't know what the deal was, but these really did well. So this is just a 1/4 cup of sugar, and then again that apple pie spice. So if you use the recipe and make the apple pie spice, don't think you're just gonna make half of it, because you do need the whole little bit that you make. So I will go ahead and post a link to this below. And again, this pan is available September 1st. And if you have any questions, let me know. You guys have a great night. There is a picture on here of the finished donuts, so you can just go look for that right away. Have a great night. Bye. Thanks for getting on.